Now it's time to discuss confounding factors in the context of single case designs. We first might ask, what is a confounding factor? Well, confounding factors are components of a study that make it difficult or impossible to estimate the true effect of an intervention because the effect of the intervention cannot be distinguished from the effect of that component. The WWC's definition of a confounding factor has 3 criteria. The first criterion is that confounding factors are observed study components. Examples of observed study components are characteristics of teachers, schools, or lesson materials. Typical unobserved components include characteristics of study participants like motivation or teacher qualifications. The second criterion is that confounding factors are components that align completely with one and only one of the study conditions. That is, the factor is present for all data points in one condition and absent for all data points in the other condition. We will illustrate this criterion later with some examples. The third criterion is that confounding factors are components that are not actually part of the intervention the study is testing. The WWC is concerned about confounding factors because they prevent us from isolating the effect of an intervention. Confounding factors make it impossible to know whether the intervention alone is responsible for the observed effect, or whether the confounding factor is responsible for some or all of the effect. Because of this challenge, findings from any study with the confounding factor will receive a research rating of does not meet WWC standards. Let's present a simple example to help illustrate an example of a confounding factor in a single case design study. Confounding is present in a single case design if study participants or cases experience different interventionists across the baseline and intervention conditions of the study. For example, let's say one teacher provides instructions to all cases during all phases in the baseline condition, and a separate teacher provides instruction to all cases during all phases in the intervention condition. In this example, the interventionist is a confound because it is observed, it is completely aligned with only one condition, and it is not part of the intervention being tested. In contrast, let's consider a second scenario where confounding would not be considered present. In this example, let's imagine study participants experiencing the same interventionist across the baseline and intervention conditions in the study. This might occur, for instance, if a single teacher provided instruction to all cases and all conditions in the study. Interventionist would not be considered a confound in this example because it is not completely aligned with one and only one condition. Similarly, confounding would not be present if multiple teachers provided instruction to different cases within the design, as shown here. In this example, interventionist is not a confound because it is not completely aligned with only one condition across cases. This example is one that frequently causes confusion. Remember that the WWC's definition of a confounding factor does not apply to confounding with cases, but rather focuses on confounding with study conditions. And in a final example where some teachers do or do not provide instruction in different conditions, interventionist would not be a confound because no single interventionist is completely aligned with all cases in one condition and absent in another condition. This concludes our module on outcome measures and confounding factors relevant to single case designs. Let's review what we discussed in this module. We described the WWC outcome requirements as they pertain to single case designs. We defined confounding factors and identified examples of confounding factors that may arise in single case designs. And finally, we described how these two non-design components, outcome requirements and confounding, can affect a single case design study's final research rating. The next module and the training series focuses on how WWC reviewers arrive at a research rating for findings from single case design studies.